that beat.
Stick to the roof of your jamming mind. Don't let it stop, don't let it stop. It's peanut butter Phlox'em time.
Spread it thick, don't let it flop. We're spreading on,
Oh yeah,
we're spreading on. Keep it creamy now. We're spreading on,
oh yeah.
we're spreading on. Keep it creamy now.
It's peanut butter Phlox'em time.
Yeah, can you taste that beat?
Stick to the roof of your jamming mind. Don't let it stop, don't let it stop. It's peanut butter Phlox'em time.
Spread it thick, don't let it flop. We're spreading on,
Oh yeah,
we're spreading on. Keep it creamy now.
Hello, welcome back. We're here for round 2 of the evening, but it's not me playing this time, so that's good. We've got a KAGI match. This is going to be KAGI top 8. I should probably pull up the... I don't know if people have played yet. I don't love pulling up the bracket while people are still playing. Gotta leave some suspense. But we're in the top 8. We've got Moosemandude versus SithofAngmar. I think this might be... I might be wrong. Might be one of his first KAGI seasons, and obviously doing very well. Getting pretty far here. But Moosemandude definitely a long timer in the KAGI League. Very good adaptive player. Always bringing some cool decks too. Wait and see if we get Sith's deck. You might have missed the little poke for that. We can take a look here at Moosemandude's deck before the game gets going. You got an AoA deck. Always love to see that. It's one of the best things about KAGI. You just get to see so many different decks. The gang leader that undermines sincerity. It's a 3 power level, so I wonder if this actually won like an adaptive event or something a while back. But we've got Sanctum Shadows Untamed. Lots of doubles of things, especially some creature control like the Blinding Lights and the Lights Out. We've got the Sneaky Nightforge. Not a ton of chance you're gonna get them. I guess it's just if you haven't forged a key. There's some burst in here with the Merkins, with the Ronnie, Whistling Darts, Lights Out if there's a bunch of captured amber. Sanctum has the Eye of Judgment, which is a really interesting card if you can find that kind of early, especially against a deck that has some recursion and stuff. Otherwise, it looks like a pretty standard Sanctum from the set. Not really much amber control outside of, Sir Marrows. And the Take Hostages aren't too bad if those get to stick around on the board. A little bit of archiving with the Dust Chronicles there. The Legacy Ancient Bear, which is also always a fun one. Triple Darnas, which could get some value here. We've got a lot of, sticky creatures with the Sanctum. Ancient Bear is usually fighting, so we can get some good value there. Rusnar, Phlox'em, not too bad either. You got the Glimmer to bring back something that you need. They're everywhere. Doesn't really help you with the Darnas, which always made me sad. But pretty high expected amber, so it could just be nice and rushy. Not a ton of creature control, which could be a little bit rough. But some disruptive creature control, right? Both the Blinding Lights and the Lights Out can be a little bit more frustrating than just the destroyed effects. Swindle is always that nice tricky card of not knowing when you should play it or not. Get that on there. Okay, I'm not sure we're going to get Sith's deck, but we'll go ahead and see. Looks like they are ready. Let's see if it's a guessable password. Sure is. So we'll go ahead and see what Sith's deck is in game here. Once they're ready to go. KAGI, again, for those of you who don't know, is a league run now in the KAGI specific server. And it is an adaptive league. Best of 3. So adaptive is where you're going to do, first game is going to be Archon, second game is going to be Reversal, so you swap decks, and then if the same deck has won the first 2 games, that means you're both 1-1 as players, so you play the third game. In that third game, you're going to bid Chains. For the winning deck to see who gets to play it in the last round. So you can kind of bring any deck you want. Deck strength doesn't matter as much necessarily as being able to judge the matchup and really knowing your deck well. Usually you want to bring a deck that's kind of tricky to play. So let's go ahead and take a look. We've got Moosemandude on the top with the gang leader. Ooh, and we've got a Vault Master on the bottom. So Sith is bringing a Vault Master. I believe this would be a 24 with those houses. Sanctum Shadows Untamed. So actually, same house combo, but totally different set. This one looking a lot more kind of like some DT stuff with the Sir Marrows and the, well, I guess Sir Marrows is different, but Alms Masters, Book of Malefaction. Glorious Few is always one of those interesting ones to play around. Ardent Hero can be kind of annoying. I don't know if this deck has any creatures that are bigger than 4 power. Triple Ronnie Risk Locks, though, with a Fagin, 2 Urchins, Miasma, Poison Wave, Hit and Run, so tons of amber control in this Shadows. That's going to be a real pain to get past. No key cheats, except for the Nightforge. It's the only key cheat here. Then the Untamed got some Cephalois, so some things to stop stealing. Ghost Hawk for some extra reaping. Scout, Soldiers to Flowers, Lost in the Wild. So, on first glance, Sith's deck looks a little bit scarier, but again, inadaptive, that's not the end all. The end all is who can take 2 out of the 3 games having to play both players' decks. So we've got Sith starting out with Cassiel the Benevolent on the bottom there, and then a Ghost Hawk to reap with it. Scout for no value, just going to be getting the Amber. And then there's one of those Cephaloids, not going to be turned on yet. You have to have 4 Amber for Cephaloids to stop the stealing. But with 1 Amber on their side, Moosemandude's not going to be able to steal with the Gamgee anyways. So just getting some more artifacts and stuff down from the Sanctum. Take hostages as well, just getting some Amber, not really having any effect yet. But this board, I think for Sith, is going to start filling up fast. And with some of these beefy Sanctum creatures, it might get kind of tough to move. Like we said, we do have some bounce, we do have some stun, but especially something like a Sir Meros behind a taunt could be kind of rough for Moosemandude to deal with. Unless you kind of just wait a little bit and then bounce it with the lights out once it has some Amber on it. But then you're kind of getting yourself in trouble with those triple Ronnies. So this is going to be an uphill battle for Moosemandude for sure. I think that Shadows over here along with kind of the bigger board would be really rough. We'll see what he does. We've got Glorious Few getting played for no value on Sith's side there, as well as the Equalize. Same thing, just getting played for the Amber. Okay, we see the Glimmer coming out early. Gonna grab the Take Hostages because there's not really anything for it to grab. And then using the Special Delivery to damage that Sir Meros, and then save the pack to kill it. So already going to have a chain there, and that is one of the bigger creature control cards from this deck being played already. So it's looking a little rough, I think, for Moosemandude right off the bat. This could be a pretty high chain matchup once we get to game 3, but don't want to get ahead of ourselves too much here. Do have the Seeker Needle coming down. We've got a Miasma just for the Amber. Ronnie going to do some stealing here. Hit and run for more stealing. No Ronnie on the other side. Yeah, we got a VM. VM24. Larson of Barason's Vault. And it's doing some filthy shadows. We'll say that. This shadows is disgusting. Triple Ronnie, Fagin, Moon Cursor, Double Urchin, Safe House, Poison Wave, Miasma, Hit and Run. It's some stuff. This AoA deck, I think, is going to have trouble keeping up with that. You see the Hit and Run is going to take out the Darna and then comes back down. The Ronnie comes back down, going to 8 here. We do see just a big Sanctum board getting thrown out, which is good. I think Moosemandude definitely needing some board to start dealing with this. Sir Meros will do some capturing here. But already on key 1 for Sith. And then we got another Shadows call here. So again, these taunts going to be a big problem for Moosemandude unless he starts using some of this creature control like the Blinding Lights. There's an Urchin for some more stealing. And second Ronnie. So the question is there much recursion in this one? Could see the Lost in the Wild next turn to try and get these Ronnies back in the deck. Seeker Needle hits the Urchin just to gain an extra Amber there. So already up to 5 after that first key forged. Would have been 6 except for the Sir Meros capturing 1 off of the Ronnie Reap. Gamgee is enraged here, so this Pandolph doing its job, keeping Gamgee from being able to steal. Gotta think you gotta play some creature control here, whether it's the Lights Out or a Blinding Light if you're Moosemandude, just to try and clog up the hand a little bit, stop this board from doing too much crazy stuff. This Moon Cursor is going to be pretty nasty, although there is a lot of armor right now, so it's not actually doing too much. So we do see the Shadows call. There's the Lights Out, so this could be Pandolph getting Lights Out and then the Gamgee fighting the Moon Cursor. Then that Pandolph gets to come back down and enrage something. Ooh, just bouncing the Moon Cursor as well. Gamgee gonna fight the Ghost Hawk. So choosing to leave the Ronnies on the board. Interesting call, because again, there's not really any recursion here except for the Lost in the Wild, but Lost in the Wild has to, or yeah, has to hit these when they're on the board. So it's an interesting one, but we'll see how it goes. Not really dealing with the Amber there, but doing some hand clogging. I have to think though, just going right back into Shadows, getting that Moon Cursor down, kind of keeping that threat on the board. Reaping Out. I guess Reaping Out doesn't really work because you got the Surmeros. So Sith does need to deal with that if he doesn't have too much Amber from hand, which this deck might not actually have a ton. There's a lot of creatures in Sanctum, and then some artifacts. Shadow seems to be where most of it is, actually. The Untamed 2 is a lot of creatures. So, actually a very interesting deck. Very creature heavy in 2 of the houses, and then very steel heavy in Shadows. But also on its creature control. Oh, we got the Poison Wave. Okay, so that'll deal with a little bit, but also kills Sith's stuff there. Seeker Needle gonna hit whatever here. I feel like that's actually pretty good for Moosemandude. Doesn't have to fight to deal with this board anymore. Can just kind of, let Sith deal with it himself. Skeleton Key is down, so it could stop the key that way. Sanctum, you can just discard a Sanctum card to capture one to stop this key. Now we see that, discard the Blinding Light. Sad because that's got a pip on it, and I think you need the pips here. Well, maybe don't, because you know there's at least one Ronnie left, so just reaping 6 or doing some capturing here, or fighting. Use the Hallowed Shield on Surmeros, and then that fights the Cassiel. Okay, so we'll probably see some of these untamed. The Mustic Murmook is going to be an interesting one, but still not quite enough to kill the Surmeros, so it's just going to take out that taunt. Also bumping key cost up to 7, though. And both of those Blinding Lights are gone, so you'd really love to have a second one for this board right about now. You have some damage on the Baron, so we could see some Darna value here, which you don't get to see super often. But that Mustic is very good because it pushes you to get up to 7 Amber, which then turns on those Ronnies again. But only one Ronnie left in deck, so just going to 7 here with the Darnas. Just going to try and risk it. There is one more Urchin that we could see as well. I gotta think there's a lot of Sanctum in hand at this point, because we've done several turns of Shadows, and then now this Untamed turn for Sith. Yeah. And the Sanctum, I don't think... We don't know what the tip would be on... the Hadros wall. What pips would we have in here? Cassiel is Amber plus 1 capture. Oh, 2 captures. Okay. So we could see a capture pip to stop the key here from some of those Sanctum artifacts. Sith has not chosen the house yet, though. Sith having to think about it. Both of these players have to be really careful about kind of what they're doing with the boards. Having the Halicor on board means you do get some really nice free fights with those other untamed creatures, and that's where he goes, is into untamed, but you can't kill everything. You basically would have to fight with 2 of them just to kill the Surmeros. And that leaves this big board of untamed left to reap or take out some artifacts. So you see a fight from the Mustic going into the Surmeros. Okay, so probably going to be a Cephaloist going in there as well. Trying to take that out. It's possibly going to 9 Amber here, which would take Sith even out of range of the Swindle, which is pretty tough. You probably want that to stop a key one of these turns. Ooh, Halicore fighting here. I guess you aren't worried about the Swindle because of the Cephalist. Second Halicore comes down. And there's the capture, so that's going to stop Moosemandude's key. And then we see the Cephalist. Oof! Fighting the Cermeros, and then we see the Soldiers to Flowers to purge a few of our untamed creatures and get a bunch more burst. So, pretty big turn there. Moosemandude unable to capture or steal at the moment because of the Cephalist. Quick call back into Untamed. So, not stopping a key because it's Untamed and it's AoA. And those two things don't go together. Ever. Probably gonna leave the Mustic alive. Oh, did Sith give? Yeah, gave Moosemandude the key because of that Soldiers to Flowers. I missed that. Because it was taken off check because of the capture pit, but then the Soldiers to Flowers is symmetric. And so now big burst again there from Moosemandude getting Phlox'em down, leaving the Mustic, so still going to be forging at 7, stopping this key just barely for key 3. Didn't stop the key. Attacks the last key, and now Sith isn't quite on check for key 3 already. Baron still being on the board gives you some options for Amber control. Skeleton Key gives you some options. Still haven't seen Swindle. Oh, there is one Ronnie in there, so you gotta be careful of that Ronnie as well. So you haven't seen that yet, right? Swindle got discarded a while ago. I missed that. I was on that lights out turn. A Sanctum turn coming for Sith. The Ardent Hero, that's going to slow down that Ancient Bear. Pandolf, of course, going to come down and annoy stuff. Yep, we're still in game 1. Welcome into Carnage. And it's actually a closer game than I expected based on the deck lists, so that's fun too. Always good to have an actual good game. Sometimes the two decks you bring are so far apart. All right, Hadros Wall is down, as well as the Book of Malefaction. But that is key 2 for Moosemandude. 1 Amber was captured there because of the pip on the Hadros Wall, but Moosemandude being at 8 there, still able to get the key, forging for 7. Mustic is still alive, which means Sith is not on check. So that actually gives Moosemandude some breathing room here to... Well, we'll see what they do. Book of Malefaction isn't a huge deal, I don't think. Neither of these decks are really going to worry about cycling too much. Got the Skeleton Key to capture on Phlox'em. This could be a lights out here. Bounce the Halicore and maybe the Ardent Hero. What else we got in Shadows? Oh, Sack of Coins too. And that capture is actually really important because that means you can kill the Mustic here without worrying about it. Without worrying about Sith forging. Dust Chronicles is just going to draw a card here. I'm having to think. Got Ronnie here, it's probably tempting. There's a Whistling Darts for some damage. Still not enough to kill anything though. What else could he be looking at? Always gotta check. I assume most people don't turn the hands visible, but Sometimes you want to see. Nightforge would be interesting. Merkins could be interesting here. Is there anything you're scared of hitting? Okay, there's the lights out. Again, I'm expecting... Halicor's hard because it's got the tip on it. Just goes for both of the Sanctum creatures there. So... but it's tough. Because now this book can purge a creature off the board, which if you purge this Baron, that might be your only Amber control left. Which I guess the Untamed here could just fight it off anyways. Oh, there's the sack of coins too. Not able to get to check though. It's pretty big. What do you got left for Amber control though? If it's just that Baron and that gets purged, you might be in a bit of trouble here. I think that's about where we're looking. We'll see what gets purged here. Could also be the Phlox'em, but I assume it's going to be this guy. Pandolph comes down, going to keep more of that Untamed from being able to reap. Yep, hits the Darna. And there's the book activation. It's got to be the Baron, right? There's not really any bounce to make the Phlox'em like really scary here. Take hostages, same thing, only really works if you have Sanctum creatures on the board. Skeleton Key is probably what's going to be the kicker here. Thinking hard about it. Checking those Amber control options. How many Sanctum cards do we already have in the discard? Three Sanctum cards left. Purges the Phlox'em. Okay. See if there's a different answer to the Baron. Ooh, Almsmaster going to be doing some extra capturing. And now we know both of the lights out are gone and the sack of coins. So I don't think these things are dying anytime soon unless you can fight into them. But the... Oof, Cermeros too. Ardent Hero kind of makes that tough. Okay, so brings Moosemandude down to 3 Amber, but also not getting to check here. So still a good opportunity. And Sith still hasn't flipped. So you basically know there's 1 Ronnie and 1 Urchin. As far as... And the Miasma's gone. Hit and Run's gone. I think if you can get to 9 Amber here... 9 is a lot. Especially if you don't have good ways of killing some of these creatures. Which the Ancient Bear... actually gets you pretty close. So you could fight Almsmaster and then fight a Darna. Oh no, you'd have to kill the Pandolph too. That Pandolph is a problem. So we see a Sanctum turn. Lion coming down. And the Eye of Judgment. Fight the Pandolph. Healing Blast to go to 8. Can you do one more? Does not. So it's all down to... Unless I'm missing something else. Sith might have... I think we've seen all the pips now. The enhanced pips. We've seen 2 Ronnies. So I think it's got to be... Ronnie plus Urchin. That's crazy. Man, I did such a bad job of evaluating these decks. I thought for sure Sith's deck was going to run away with this, but board control on both sides kind of becoming an issue. That'll make for a very interesting game too, though. the bounce, especially the 2 lights out in here, are just so annoying for a deck like this that has so many creatures. Can't play Lost in the Wild now because that gives them the Amber back. That doesn't stop the key. 8 was perfect, so he's probably got the Ronnie, but does not have the Urchin. Crazy. Wow, very well played. My dog just sighed at me. What are you doing? Okay, there's the safe house, which would have been very big earlier. So this is, I mean, it's going to be a very interesting game too. It could look so different. The safe house comes down early if this book comes out early. I still kind of think early on that poison wave was a really big deal because that killed more of Sith's creatures than of Moosemandude's. And I think that just left you with having to try and get your board back. That was a very good game though. Very, very close. I think game 2 could look pretty different. We'll see. Didn't see Merkins. Swindle wasn't played. Song of Spring seemed very not that important. Let's see if they remember who went first. I think it was the VM deck. Yeah, they got it. Okay. So Moosemandude going first. We'll see what happens. Ooh, starts off with a Lumalu. How many beasts do we have in here? We did not see that one come down. 2 Halicores, Mustic, Rosnar, Ghost Hawk. Okay, so there's a good amount, so that could do some damage right off the bat. Sith doesn't deal with it here. Okay, we do see the lights out. Only hitting 1. Then a Merkins to play a Rosnar. That's actually a really good hit. Yeah, we'll see. We do see the Lumalu and then a Halicore come back down. So Rosnar doesn't have anything interesting to hit here, but again, there's some pretty spicy artifacts on this VM side. I might stop Safe House from coming down for a turn. Book of Malefaction. There's the Ancient Bear. We'll see if he just fights the Rosnar off here anyways. They're everywhere. Probably not, so just probably going to reap with the Rosnar. It's tempting. You might want to kill the Lumalu here. Just in case, but you've got 2 of the other beasts on the board. Ooh, kills the Halicore instead. And then Song of Spring for an Amber. Alright, there's the book coming down early. That's going to be some pretty nice creature control. Not a ton of steel in this AoA, but there's enough where this will get a couple counters on it. Sir Marrow's next to the Almsmaster. Again, we've already seen one of those lights out. So we've got 1 more, and then the 2 blinding lights. And then it's mostly fighting. I have Judgment. Again, not a ton of recursion. Really almost any. So I don't think that's as big of a deal unless there's a way to really make this game go long. Child of Safeguard coming down. Just hiding the Merkins and the Hallowed Shield out of the way. More Untamed coming down. Lumalu getting some value off the Halicore. And now you've got this Witch of the Eye that you basically have to deal with. And a Sir Marrow's that you have to deal with if you want to gain Amber from your board. Sith going into Shadow pretty quick here. Shadows. So it could be second lights out. The Gamgee. Whistling Darts for some extra damage. There you go. That'll let the Merkins kill the Witch of the Eye. It's not pretty, but it works. Because you for sure have to kill that here. Otherwise it goes pretty wild. Playing the Ronnie. Only 1 Ronnie again. We didn't get to see it. Yeah, we did see it last game. Did we? Maybe later. And then the Night Forge for some Amber. We're seeing some Shadow Steel on VM side, along with a hit and run to replay the Ronnie. And kill the Gamgee, which is a nice hit. And the board just kind of keeps getting wider. These Urchins are elusive too, so that's another thing that's just a little bit tougher for this deck to deal with. So we'll see. You still have to get that Cermeros off the board too, just to be able to kind of get any use out of your board. Your Ronnie's out, so there's not too much holding Moosemandude back from going past 6. The call is Untamed. Another Rustnar coming down. It's going to try and stay alive long enough to get that Book of Malefaction, but unlikely, since the book can just purge the Rustnar right here if it wants to. Ancient Bear fights the Halakor. See if we get some Darnas here. Yep, gonna get some healing. Keeping this right side of the Chal open for other things. The Phlox'em coming down, getting some burst. Still not getting to check. A fast Untamed call for Moosemandude. Moosemandude already played a lot of Untamed, so they gotta be about out, but I could see this being the Soldiers to Flowers, which would be a pretty big, yeah, very big play for them. Nothing for Sith. Problem is it doesn't deal with Sith's board, which is actually starting to get some value here. Ooh. Scout is brutal. So skirmish and fight with 2 creatures don't have to be untamed. It's going to take out the Ronnie and the Rustnar. And then the Lost in the Wild 2 to reshuffle one of those Ronnies. Put some of these creatures back. Yikes. Did give the Phlox'em back. And the Chal. But Glimmer not going to be able to hit that Phlox'em because it got reshuffled. Chooses to get the There Everywhere instead of the Ronnie there, which does clear a little bit of that board, but not even dealing damage with this armor here. Also going to 7. No Ronnies in the discard. It's looking a little grim. Have I ever said you have to wear pants while watching this stream, Cloggin? Thank you, though. Yeah, that NKFL match was crazy. I can't believe I was able to pull that out, but it was some very good games, very tight, like this whole season has been, which is awesome. And now we're on game 2 of this KAGI match, and it is looking a little grim here for Sith. We do have a Sanctum call, so it's getting more creatures on the board. Still hasn't used the book. Waiting for something specific with that. Alms Master. Oh no, Pandolf coming down. Got 1 capture off of the Hadros wall, but that's not stopping the key. So getting this key is actually really big for Sith. Dodging any of those Ronnies, because we know there's 3 in the deck at this point still. That's a really big deal there. In terms of keeping up some momentum. Special Delivery feels real bad when they've got a Hadros wall. But can help you get a little bit more reach if you need to kill something. Ooh, Lights Out is going to get some nice value bouncing. Probably just these 2. Don't want to do the Alms Master because that'll get Moosemandude another capture. It's both Cermeros, so we use the Pandolf on the board. Gonna try and stack up that taunting in one place. Got a Dust Chronicles, which will archive a card. Okay, Moosemandude right back into Sanctum, getting those creatures back on the board, try to stop some of this reaping. Equalize. It's going to move Amber onto one of those taunted creatures, I imagine. Or just onto the Alms Master, that's cool too. Creeping up to 7, we already know the Ronnie is gone. Could be something like a Swindle here. We don't have any of those Cephaloists out yet. But if you're Sith, going past 6 here again is still very, very scary. Sanctum is the call. Can at least purge one of the Urchins from the discard so that the Fagin has less value if it ever makes it down. A nice stun from the Blinding Light on all of that Sanctum. Buys you a little bit of breathing room. We do see the take hostages, though, to go to 7, then Healing Blast for 8. 9. I guess, I don't know. Do you just have to risk it at this point? They either have 2 Ronnies or they don't. And if they do, you weren't going to win anyways. It's probably where you're at. You see a very fast Shadows call here. Oh, the Miasma. Doesn't even have to play the Ronnies yet. See the Safe House, see the Seeker Needle. We did see the one Urchin get purged here by the Eye of Judgment. Seeker Needle not doing as much anymore because the Urchin is on the flank, so it's got the +2 power. But, yeah. That's pretty rough. It wasn't Ronnie's, which is a big deal. But, now you've got Safe House ready to go for the Ronnies that are probably coming next turn. Could do something like a Swindle here. You could Special Delivery the Urchin, which gets both of them out of the way, so this Fagin isn't really doing anything for you. Goes Untamed. Just gotta keep moving that hand. Probably not gonna gain too much Amber here. Stay close to this total. Actually, probably not. Well, I guess you have the Song of Springs you can gain Amber with. Still have 2 of those. Fights itself into the Alms Master. Special Delivery to kill the Urchin to at least get those out of the way. Darna will Reap to put an Amber on Sir Marrows. Song of Spring to go to 9. Doesn't shuffle anything, I don't think. See the second Darna come down, or third Darna, I guess. And then a Save the Pack to kill the Alms Master. Going up to 10. So 2 Ronnies here, you still forge past. Moosemandude going Untamed. Cephaloist and then Soldiers to Flowers. Just gonna get an Amber total that, Sith can't deal with. There's no Miasma. Sith could have, I guess the Night Forge is already gone. And you just forged the key this turn anyway, so that doesn't really help you here. There's no Gatekeeper or whatever that one is. How many can you discard? Oh, it's going to be so close. Ah, not enough though. Wow, GG's. That's more how I expected these games to go. I think game 1, yeah, Moosemandude really pulled it out, knew what he had to do to kind of get past this, but I think, I mean, 1 was lucky that there was not the Urchin in hand right at the end there, because I don't think he would have necessarily had a way to stop the key if Sith was able to play both of those. But again, I think that that poison wave was really a tough call on whether or not that actually helped Moosemandude more than Sith just by clearing the board for them. Yeah, uphill battle for this deck. It does generate a lot of amber. And then again, the Soldiers to Flowers game one also gave Moosemandude that second key, which was really big, so that you're kind of left with just the Ronnie and the one Urchin for amber control. So you kind of knew what you had to do there. Yeah, very interesting. Interesting matchup, but very, very well played by Moosemandude especially. Just really, yeah, Sith even wondering like what happened game one. Very, very awkward. How things just kind of stalled, and it was just that like four untamed creatures sitting in the middle, able to do whatever they needed, clear some creatures, while doing some other stuff. And like this deck, the AoA deck actually has a decent amount of amber, right? We saw that. Oops. Oh, maybe I closed that tab. Pretty decent amount of amber generation, but just Sith didn't have the Ronnies at the right time to be able to kind of really punish it, and so Moosemandude kind of got away with it. And then game two, we saw kind of what we expected this deck to do more. So, I mean, that's adaptive. It's just kind of brutal sometimes. Things don't go the way you expect game one, and then game two, they go exactly how you expect, and it's not good. So, that's what it is. But yeah, GG's to both players. We will see Moosemandude in the top 4. And again, big congrats to Sith making it this far. Again, I think this is one of his first KAGIs, or at least like definitely did better this season than some other seasons. So big congrats there, making it to top 8. I think that is gonna do it for me. There are, I think, like 3 different Keyforge streams going on right now, which is kind of crazy. Or 3 different streams I could send you to. Let me 2 of them are Keyforge. One of them is just my buddy. No, let's not do that. Let's get back to who do I want to raid? Sloppy Lab Work's still going. We should probably raid them. Sloppy Lab Work is still going. Yeah, so since they're talking about single deck adaptive, let's go ahead and send you all over there. Thank you all again for hanging out and watching. Good games to both. Thanks for letting me stream that, and we'll just keep going with whatever KAGI games we can grab. Yeah, always fun to watch adaptive. Thanks all for watching, and we will see you soon. I'm saying all that while I'm like starting to raid you over there. All right, take care, everyone.